Hey everyone, welcome to another video. We're going to get right into this. We're going to start with coin and we're going to go through the trades from yesterday on what we talked about, the long and short positions on the miners and SI. Also going to cover CAN, but let's just jump right into this. So let's get rid of this line. Okay, now this is coin. This is a 15-minute chart. We're going to go through the lines, what we talked about yesterday and what we do about it right now. So this 381.80, that's where we opened, right? Ran up, came down, broke through it. All within 45 minutes, we already took out the low. Okay. See this pattern right here? Those that have read or looked at that candlestick video, okay, that's a clear evening start. As soon as you broke here, that trade was on. Now, we hope that it held 381, but it didn't. So if you haven't watched that video, I'm going to link at the end of it. I'd recommend that you start being able to identify these patterns, because if you were long this and then this happened and you didn't get out, that's an issue. So this continues and you have this falling wedge right here, right? And that falling wedge is followed by what? The frozen rope pattern that we talk about all the time, right? See how that frozen rope comes down? And then what happens here? What goes on? So you have this long bar here, which is your range. We don't open or close between it. Well, that makes this a bear flag on the 15-minute, even though it's this long, right? Eventually, at the end of the day, around 2:30, right, when institutions move, 325.33 was finally broken, the low of this bar. Well, that took us down to 317 at one point. And 309.43 is the current low. I think that's more like 310. But what I'm getting at here is that you need to look at this and understand that this is you're not seeing signs of buying at all in this. Nobody is up in this trade. And I just want to review this. This is a direct listing. So there was not stock sold to institutions at a 250 level. Direct listing is a direct listing. So they sell the shares as they see fit. So, for example, today they got rid of 125 million shares today. It's not like everybody got in this at 250 and now they're selling, and then you have the retail coming in that wants to get involved. They're selling direct. And when that happens, there's no investment bank to backstop that. So that's why you're dealing with some of this. And there's a little bit more uncertainty when you're dealing with this, but it makes sense for Coinbase because they get to keep all the profit of the actual move versus then the retail people or the people that get in at 250, I should say institutions, they get that money, and instead of them getting it, Coinbase gets it. So it's smart for Coinbase. And if it opened to 250, it would have been great for everybody else too, but it just didn't because of demand. So I use this every once in a while, and this is VWAP, and I have it here for a reason. And I'm going to put this line in for a reason. So this is essentially the new day. This is where we closed from here to here yesterday. Based upon this move, what we saw happen is volume-weighted average price. This is where everybody's in the stock on a volume-weighted average, right, of the price. Okay, that put us at the close of the day at 351. That means everybody that's in here is down on the day by the time that you got to this day. Now we opened, people were hopefully looking for a gap. We opened at the high of the day, sold down, hit 325.33, and then we rolled. Okay? We finally broke that at the end of the day, didn't we? And we still can't get above it. And that's not really where you want to be. So what I'm going to suggest, you do see a rise in volume, a very big rise for the first time at the end of the day. Frankly, I think that's short covering because you were able to short this today. And at one point, I was actually short the stock. So what you need to look at is this particular line. And I'm going to blow this up for everybody so you can see this. As always, subscribe to the channel, click notifications, because what we go over is extremely timely, and you want to be notified when it comes out if you find value in this. So you see how we can't even get above that on VWAP? Can't even get above it. So that's something that is, you really got to pay attention to that. And this is not something you want to buy until we get above it. It's very clear. So that puts us at roughly 332. Now the VWAP moves, as you can see, just like this is one day, right? You're going to have to deal with this tomorrow because you just don't know where VWAP's going to open. And there's your other day, and then you just have to see where you're at, right? So we need that to get above the VWAP before you consider executing the trade. That's what you need to look at. If we break the 310 level, you're going to have issues. If you break that level, you're going to go, I think you're going to go into the low to, you're going to go into the mid to high twos just to start. Let me just click off of this and go properties. We don't have to do all that. Let's just go here, click indicators, get off of this, and we're going to just get right hit into this. Okay, so this is RIOT. We've gone over this a couple times, and I got rid of a lot of the lines and just started to focus on the bigger ones. And we're going to put the indicators back in here because of what we went over, and I just want to address this. So on this particular move, what we're seeing here is we're seeing a rise above here. We reject. We open here, right? We open right here after this close. What does this tell us, right? It's exactly where we didn't want to open when we went over this yesterday. It's telling us that we've got issues, and we have issues. So we sell down, right, all the way down to this 43.72 line, and we can't get above. We can't get above the 50. We can't get above the 21. Now, do I think this is a short anymore? No. We had the short. We had the short signal, which was the break of this. It was clear as day. We went over it yesterday. Our hope was that it gapped up and then sold down and consolidated in here, and we still got the short off, so the stock would continue its upward trend. But this is broken now, and when you have a huge red bar like this, long red bar, this takes a long time to come back from, especially with the selling today and then the follow through today. So this is going to take a while. So no, I don't think there's a short here, but I don't think there's a long here yet either. You need to get above the 50. You need to get above the high of this previous bar, and you have to get above the 21 day. When those three things happen, then you could be taking a look at RIOT and getting in the trade. So SI, SI was one I called out on Twitter today, and I stated that there's a buy signal, and I'm going to walk through that buy signal today. So what you see happen here is we did the same thing, and I was short this one as well. I shorted all three of them today. And you can look at the Twitter feed to see the timestamps. I leave everything on there. So what you saw, right, was just follow through. We gapped down here. When we ran up today, we looked like we were going to break through. We did not, but we got to the 21 day and the 50 at least. Then we broke through and came down, and there's not really any true resistance where it stops, it looks like, right? But that's not really the case. There is actually a support line here. You would think that there would be no pressure to stop this, and I'm going to show you where it is in a moment. So this is why it's important to look at different time frames. But what we saw was this close up over this longer term trend. So for your next buy signal, and it already did give one, you're going to want to be above the 21 day, which gets us above the high of the day, which puts us at 146. Until then, I would not buy it unless it comes back down. But I'm going to show you this signal yet today that I went through, and I walked through it on Twitter as well. But you can see that you're right here, right? Now, this is where you hit, but how do we get to that level? Let's drill back a little bit. So you hit right here. You hit right here, right? Here. So that puts us at that level. Now, right here and here, here and here. That's a trend line. Okay, so we hit the trend line, we hit support. Now let's get into this. We also hit a morning star, right? That morning star pattern from the candlestick, I'll link that at the end of this video. But you can see that morning star pattern. Once we broke above this, that morning star pattern triggered. If I wanted to wait for this, that's fine. I wanted a higher high for confirmation. I wasn't interested in trying to just catch like $2, $3. I wanted to get in this at the right price and to make sure I was right. And we got the confirmation. So, we're in at like 134, 135, let's call it, and up $4, but at least it gets us a cushion coming in till tomorrow to see if we can get up there and get to that 146 level, which is exactly where your next buy level is going to be on the stock. So it's really important that you understand that and why these candlestick patterns are important, and also why you need to just kind of look at different time frames. Now let's go to MARA. We did that one as well. This actually has a nice move to it. And again, I was short these today. They're all closed on the short side now, and I'm long SI. So what you're seeing here is you just opened and closed right where you closed yesterday. That's about as best as you're going to get out of these stocks, right? I mean, that's really the best that you're going to get. And that's what transpired. So I think that when we look at that, we have to just be happy that we got it. What do we do now? You just sit, watch, and wait. You cannot be buying this thing. I certainly wouldn't sell it after today's action. So it's not really a short. It's not really a long yet, right? I don't have two red nasty bars here like I do. I have this nasty bar, and this is nasty, but it's not as bad as the other two we just went over, is it? So I need to flip this 44.87. Let's call it 45. That gets me above the 21. And it gets me above this resistance point, and then you can take a look at it. And finally, let's just do CAN, C-A-N. I really haven't covered this one because it's just been nasty. Here's your trend line. We broke that. There's your frozen rope, and now we're forming one of those dreaded H's, right? Now, when we break through this, which we're doing, there's no support, right? The 50s here, we broke that. The 21s here, we broke that. Here's the 200-day. And that would take us to 726 or 8. And that count actually makes sense because when you have an H pattern, you take the H pattern, right? And then you figure out the difference in the H pattern, and then you just roll from there. And that's telling us it's like 4 points. So that would take us on the break to 12. Takes you right to about here, $8, right where the 200-day is. I would not go near this. And if you throw in the 5 and the 8, you can see that they are now resistance lines. So there's something going on here that's weighing on this substantially more than before. And people will remember this one from the newsletter. We did exceptionally well with this. We bought this at 21 and rode it up to this 39. We wound up getting out of some here and then some up here. And then when we finally broke through this trend line again, we got out of it. We haven't gone back to it. Right now, it just looks awful. I wouldn't touch it. So that's it for those stocks. Now I want to get into the ones that I recommended in the newsletter. If you don't get the newsletter, simply click the link in the descriptions or bio. It's free, and it'll take you right to it. So let's get rid of these indicators and look at what's going on here. So yesterday, I just put it out there at $73. I think that was the key level for it. I think it looks exceptionally well here. I do think we put the bottom in. You have the smaller humps underneath the wedge. We broke that small wedge line that's been going on since about February, and it just looks like we're going to really push here. So let's just put in these indicators now and take a look. The 5 and the 8 are starting to point up, which they haven't been doing, right? They're starting to curl and point up. The 21 is going to be the next, and the 200. So, but that would get us to 84. So we weren't going to wait for that. But at this level, with the volume that we're coming in, I think this has a lot of potential. So I would recommend sticking and taking a look at this trade. You're going to see tons of rotation in this market. And this is one of those areas where it could go. Now, Nvidia is one that we've been in for since 540 in the newsletter. And we closed at 645 today, new high. And people are out there, pounding the table on it today because it broke above this level. You have to not laugh about it. We were in over 20% ago. But, you have to really understand, just because you flip this level, this is where it gets more dangerous now. It doesn't get less dangerous. Flipping these levels means that, it can go parabolic, and I still think we have that 750 level, and I do think that can happen. It doesn't mean that, it's less risky up here. It was less risky when we entered it. Now what do you do with it? Look, I think that if you're in from where we're in, you need to trim when you're up 100 points, which is 20% on the stock. So that's the first thing, and I've already announced that several times, so I'm going to stop saying it. Now, if you're looking at buying this, you have to buy this with the premise that if I go below these lines, I have to get out, and you have to pick which one. So this one gets you to 25, right? 625. If you break 625, you really got to figure out why you're going to stay in it. And if you look at the low today, the low was 622. So that's roughly what you'd want to use as your stop. If you don't get out when you break the breakout bar, where's your stop going to be? So for those that aren't in it yet, is this trade over? No. Is it more risky yet? Yeah, now it's more risky for sure. But it doesn't mean it's over. It could keep going for a while. I mean, this is an 8-month base, as we've been saying. It's just more risky now. So your stop would have to be 622, and I wouldn't touch it until you take out the high and you see huge volume. So Tesla looks good. I mean, there's really not much to say about Tesla. I'll go over it because I'm asked about it, but there's not really much to get into here, is there? What you're seeing happen with it is we broke this line. We're above the 5, the 8, the 21, and we can zoom in on this. And now you're just resting. We came in a little bit, I actually said yesterday I'd love to come to 718. I think we got to 721. And, I actually went long this and then I got stopped out right away because it just reversed on me. But at the end of the day, I think it looks great here. Now, this is actually setting up a pattern. Okay, just so you understand that, and we'll walk through it. This is actually setting up a pattern, and that pattern is one of those little Morningstar patterns. So if I break a higher high tomorrow, so if I break, I guess it is good, I'm going over it, 745 tomorrow, take a look at this. This could push into option expiration if it gets above that level. RBLX was one that we were in. We were killing it. We were living like kings, and then we just opened here. They took us to this level, and they shook us out, and then they just reversed it on us. I mean, close here, open here. Close here, open here. I mean, they just did nothing but shake us out of the stock, and they did. They triggered the stop, and we got out. I mean, there's not really much you can do about it. Now, what do you do with it now? Look, I mean, you are sitting. There was our level, 78, 75. The 79.10 level. Now you're sitting. Let's get rid of these indicators. You have a bull flag right on this level. I mean, this is setting up to go higher. I hate to say it because we got stopped out and it looks like we lost, 75 cents, but we were up $3, $4 on it and it's gone. What do you do now? Just watch. Now, you could have some issue here. Could have a little issue on this line. You might want to wait for that issue to break above this, and that's really simple to do. Just take this point, right? And there's your point. Okay, so now you don't have to worry about that line. Just look for one line. Get above 80 3/4, and that's your trigger on this stock. RBLX, and I would look at that. I mean, 80 3/4, and you can use the 79 level as a stop. This is going to go. I mean, just look at this pattern. Look how we just look at this constant up movement. I mean, it's beautiful, right? And it's an hourly because it hasn't been around long, but I mean, you get where I'm going with this. It's really nice. And so net was put in the newsletter today. And we're going to get into this and drill down into it. And we're going to throw in the indicators because it's important because I use them to justify why getting in. We broke this level. They came out and announced this news level on what they were going to do with Nvidia. And, you had to see if it was going to be a one-hit wonder. We sold down yesterday. But you have a flag forming. We hit the low. So that was our first thing, right? So the very first thing is we hit the low of the 50-day. Then we got above this bar, which is a good sign, and we closed at an all-time high of these 3 bars, which is not really an all-time high, but I'm just trying to be dramatic. It's above these 3 bars, so it's really important that we're above those 3 bars, and this is the highest close off that news. So that's great news. That's why I added it. You could still add this here. I still think this is actionable, and let me squeeze this down so you can see it. And frankly, I think you're going to here. I think you're going to this level, 95, 77. I think cloud stocks are setting up for a move. UPST I was asked to go over. Look, you broke down this wedge. You ran right to the 118 level again, 116 3/4. You couldn't break it. I can't close above the 5. I can't close above the 8, the 21, right? The 50 I'm still above. I can't get above this wedge. I got to tell you, like, the action on this is just awful. I break. I don't get the up bar on the next break. After this, I mean, this set me up when this is why I got into the trade. This was setting me up for like a beautiful Morningstar pattern to 129. If I got above this, I thought I was getting the here, and I'll show you the failed Morningstar. So you see you broke, and then you're here, and then you're waiting for the break above this. So I added it here, took a shot, and it just didn't work. But I got in cheap because I got in at 105 on that pullback that I walked through the other day. 2 days ago, I showed that one. And then got here. So I think I got out at like 110, 109, made 5 points, but not what I wanted to make. Was hoping I could get to that 129 level. So HEP, H-E-A-P, HEPA, I'm sorry, been a long day. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on it. Everyone knows how I feel about these lower price stocks. Look, I mean, if you're in this, we've had these lines drawn for months. We must have been looking at this one. I can't get above this line, okay? Clear as day. I'm going to break this. This is just a matter of time before I break this 167. If you break 167, you need to get out of this. Or the next line, the really next support line is this, which takes you to about $1.25. So not something I'd want to be in right now, especially if you see that happening. SOX was added, BPA of 41. We added it yesterday. There was a line here and there was a little trade that went off, and so we added the SOX SOXL. It's a 3x ETF. It's like the SOX on steroids, and up and down. And we were in this before via Twitter. If you don't follow me on Twitter, I would. We give out actionable, or I give out actionable ideas and real-time trades that I'm doing. So my hope is that when we get to 1,000 subscribers, I can start doing it here more because I can explain more and interact way more with visual. Anyway, you see this? We're setting up to go. I was asked yesterday by someone on Reddit, do I think it's going to 43? I said, yeah, I think it's going to 43 tomorrow. And we just got lucky. It worked. But, we had the gap up and it went. And, I'm in the trade and I think it looks great. I need to get above this line. You see when you learn how to reprice, you don't need any of this stuff. Like you can put it in, like it is helpful, right? But the 21 and the 50 are crossing, that's great. But this price point tells me more than the 21 and the 50 are doing. I mean, the 21 and the 50, this thing could go back here, and the 21 and the 50 are still crossing. Who cares? But now, it's a difference in price. So learn how to read price before you learn how to do anything else. All these people talking about fancy things they need to do and their fancy indicators. It's nonsense. Learn how to read price, and then after you read price, then you put stuff in. And can it help? Absolutely, it can help. But until you learn how to read price, it's pointless. So here's your level, and here's where you're going on the CELH. Yes, I was asked about this. Do I think that we're going to revisit this? I do. I do think we're going to revisit this. The issue is that the real area to do that might have been down here. This was just showing a trade that we did before, which we did fairly well on, where we could quantify the risk after breaking out of this flag formation. We can't really do that here, can we? So what are we going to do about this now? We're going to watch this. But I just don't see a trigger yet, that's really got me convinced. It's acting beautiful, but the real trigger was back here, breaking above this 51 was really it. So those moves, and they weren't strong moves. I mean, you can see down here, there's no volume, above average volume. So it just didn't have my interest. At this point, I really want to see the 62.5 level. But it's not something that I have a true trigger on where I feel that I have the right stop loss and the right, trajectory and where it can go. I mean, it could hit 62.5 and fail. So until I get more clarity, I'm just going to avoid it. It looks beautiful for the people that got in at 45. It's a 59. Congratulations. I mean, it hasn't had any down days, really. It's been acting excellent. What is this one? Looks like one we have not done before. BCRX. All right, so BCRX. Look, you had a great day today. You had no volume on that day. If I was long this, I would be somewhat concerned if I don't have follow-through tomorrow. You need follow-through. It's a beautiful bar, opening at the low, closing at the high. You need follow-through. You've got to get to, look where you closed. Right? Look where you closed. So you need follow-through tomorrow. If you don't follow through tomorrow and you get rejection, you might want to consider moving on with it. 1167 is your key level. You got to swing through that. Higher high on that, and then you're good to go. But this long red nasty bar is just a bunch of people that are miserable, waiting to get out of it. And that's how you have to think about this. This is all price rejection. That's what happened there. So they're waiting to get out. So this is ARDX, and it looks like this had a great day for people. These smaller ones, people know how I feel about them, but let's just, here's your issue, okay, on these thinner names. This support, as soon as you got to this level at 881, what did it do? It rejected, right? Because you don't have enough sponsorship to keep it in there. And now I'm not 3/4 up on this bar anymore. So this is a really simple trade. Would I buy it? No. Where would I buy it? Close above 881 on solid volume. Actually, this is really nice, the volume. Look at the volume increase. That's really nice how that's coming in. That's substantial volume. So, and then I'll just walk through that here so people can see that volume line. Okay, so you can see how important that is, right, and how that rose. You got to get above 881. If I took out this low, that would be my stop. 786, which was the open, which is also very nice, would be my stop. 881 is your swing. APHA, this just looks absolutely awful. Let me put this in, and we'll go from there. APHA, but this just does not look great at all. You gap down and you're rolling. You can't go near this, and now you've broken right below this level. I mean, this can go to $9, $9.50. There's no support in here really at all. There's a little bit. I mean, you can see that was an issue right there, right across. There's a little support here, but you broke it. So you're really looking at heading back to here for any support, $8. And you'll get to the 200 before then. So you're looking at $9, $10 stock. This looks really nasty, and this reversal today is not great. Your last hope is holding the low of this bar, which is 1303, but I would not go near this. CHPT, it's just, these lower price stocks, guys and girls, they're just toast. People are just blowing out of them and going in the large caps. I put in the newsletter, go where the puck is going. Well, I'm going to put in the newsletter, go where the puck is going, not where it's been. It's large cap tech. Get involved. You can buy FNGU, SOXL. You can buy, LABU. There's ways to juice the return in large cap stocks, but start focusing on the large cap. This held the 200-day. It needs to hold it. I'm not touching this. This could be setting up a bottom here, but I still have to base before I go higher. So I at least need to get a higher high on this bar and get me above the 21-day before I'd even consider this. And if I was long it and I closed below the 200-day, you have to get out. Remember, the 200-day is the last bastion for the bulls. So, people are going to be surprised by some of these that I'm going to go through that may be in the list soon. T-Doc, I had as a short. We made money on it as the short. This is starting to get better. The 5, the 8, and the 21 are crossing. I don't like buying stocks that are below the 200-day, because I don't get the institutional sponsorship that I want, so I won't touch it yet. But this is shaping up. Would I buy this? No. I'll tell you what I would start looking at. I wouldn't buy that, and I wouldn't short it. I would start, let's get rid of these indicators for a moment. I would start looking at this. I'd start looking at Zoom again. And we've already broken one level, it's becoming a resistance and support. Get above 347.40, 350, and these red bars, I start going to the tops of them. 382, next red bar, 440. So I have this huge base that can happen in here where I can have like a 100-point move on this or 33%. This is very interesting to me, ZM. Put that on your radar if you're interested in looking at those at the home. APPS, you can see exactly what happened here. Now I have an alert here, and I can remove that alert because we no longer need it. And we can throw these indicators in, but you're going to see my point. I don't need them. Now, what I do need is just an understanding of price action. So if you draw this correctly, okay, and that is drawn correctly in my eyes, you have to look at what transpired. We got to the lower end of a trading range and we fell down, right? You got to here and it rejected. You got rejected on this line. You got rejected again. You got rejected on your 89 resistance. There is no reason to go near this. Okay, this pattern, I'm going to do another video this weekend. So if you want to be notified of it, just click the subscribe button. But you see this 1, 2, 3, 3 black crows. It's a candlestick pattern. This is toast. This has a really high degree of probability of breaking. Whether or not it does, I don't know. Here's your move though. If you're in this and this breaks, you need to go because you're at least going to go 10% lower. If you break this, this is your base, $70. You're right there, okay? That's where you're going, and you have to get out of it. This is considered a second-tier name. First-tier names are moving. Go where the puck is going. Now, this is going to be in the newsletter tonight, okay? I've been waiting, and it did it today. I got above the 200 the other day. I closed right at the 50. I got above the 50. My volume's increasing. So this is DocuSign, and this will be in there today. And essentially, the buy is going to be right where it is, exactly where it is. So consider this, consider looking at this right where this buy is, and I think you're heading to here with this curl, and I'm getting a volume pickup as well. I'm not even really going to drill down into this, but the 5, 8 are now support. The 21 is crossing. The 200 is going to cross the 50 to the upside in a couple days. This is going to move. This is going to have huge institutional sponsorship because they missed all the other ones. Where does that put us or give us the potential to go to 75? Huge mover. This is not as good as it's not as good as Nvidia, but look at this base since July. Okay, this is enormous. This has just been basing and basing and basing. And when I break out of this, this is going to move. So put that on your radar. It's going to be in the newsletter tonight. Roku is acting great. You got right above that 50-day, and you closed above the 50-day. Just stay with it. There's nothing to do here. You could still buy it if you take out the higher high of 400, right? If you're trying to get picky, I would wait for 400 at this point, and 378.66. 378.66 is your stop. These are easy. These are easy trades. We were in this. We got out 4 times. It didn't break. I'm really glad this is up there so people can remember this from the newsletter. So you see this. We hit, we hit, we hit. We call these devil horns. I've gone over them before. We hit 12 4 times. We got out. Okay. I said the next day, I said, just get out of it. It's over. It's not going to go. As soon as we got at 10.50, we lost 50 cents in it. It's at 8.40. Look, I haven't had an update since this happened. Just avoid it. If you're in this and you take out a lower low, you have to get out. If you are not getting out, I'd love to hear why. There's really no reason to be in this. I was asked to cover BNGO now that I think about it, and I didn't throw that in the list. I'm going to do that at the end. There's 2 more here. This Ethereum we were in and we got stopped out of. This looks beautiful. This is the one that I'd be looking at. I am concerned what Coinbase did today where they are now paying people to move it around. That was somewhat concerning. I'm not really sure why they did that. But, you just need to be aware of that. The crypto stuff scares me on that front. And I am long some crypto. I own Ethereum and I own Bitcoin for disclosure purposes. But it just scares me when they do stuff like that. Like, well, why can't I withdraw it? So I think right now you need to break this 25 level. You break 25 on this, we're going to here. And we walked through this before and the potential of where this can go. I mean, this can be 6,000. There's nothing to stop it. Just go to the high end of that bar. There's literally nothing to stop this from going to 6,700. So I think there's massive potential in this, and I think there's way more money to be made in Ethereum than there is in Bitcoin at this point. Bitcoin at this price needs to triple for where Ethereum can go. And I just don't see that happening. I just don't see $200,000 Bitcoin by the end of the year. I mean, who knows? Anything can happen, right? But I think this has more potential. ARK, I was asked to look at. Look, I'm not crazy that she's out there buying Coinbase for her funds. It actually scares me a little bit. Like she's trying to juice the returns. I don't really understand why she's doing it, but she did it, so it is what it is. I just think that it's concerning. That said, it doesn't really matter what I think. All that matters is price, right? I mean, that's what I talk about. Just giving a little color commentary. You got to get above that if you're looking to buy this. So if you're looking to buy this, you got to get above the 130.80 level. Right now, I'm just in a bear flag, right? 1, 2, 3, 3 black crows. We just talked about that pattern, and I haven't been able to get above it since. 1, 2, 3. That's 3. I'll go over it Saturday. And this is a flag right here, right? You see the flag? So we just move this up to the top of that flag, to the bottom of the flag, top of the flag. Here's your flagpole. You're in a bear flag, and you're at the lower end of it. I need to get above this to break it. Until then, I wouldn't touch it. So, and finally, I'm going to do BNGO very quickly. As always, please like this video if you found it helpful. I'm trying to get in front of as many people as possible to show them what it truly takes to be successful trading. And to do that, the algorithm wants likes and views. So learning more and more every day about it. So 7.25 ran to, what happened? Boom, rejected. Like, this is the weekly. Okay, just look at that. Does that look like something that you want to buy on the weekly? We have to see what happens. But no, this is set up to go. And I said this the other day when I got out of it. I bought it. I was down like 20 cents. I blew it out. It didn't do what I needed it to do. I was here. I saw this little doji. I said maybe there'll be a Morningstar pattern. We're going to speak. We're going to have great information. The 5, the 8 are rolling. The 21's rolling. There is no reason to be in this. People are like, oh, I'm just going to keep buying it. Why? Why? Unless you have this huge fund and you have to, like Kathy Wood, why? So what do we need to do? We need to focus. Wait for it to show you a reason to earn your money. It's not doing that right now, so please wait. As always, tell me which one you found the most helpful. Tell me what was most helpful about this video and what you think of the ideas, in particular, which one you think is going to work the best. And I do want to throw this out there, the more I'm thinking about it, one more. I know, I'm a stock junkie. We talked about this, stocks to buy video. There'll be another one on Saturday, okay? Really important to get into this, okay? We called this here, right? And we've been talking about this level. We talked about it yesterday when it did this, on yesterday's video, that it's got plenty of room to go. I still think this is going to 152. There's still 10 points left, okay? Look at this bar. Look at this volume, okay? No one's asking me about this. No one's talking to me about this. Okay, and I just want to stress that again, and I'm not doing it to bust people. Focus on where the ball is going. Stop thinking about what you were in last year or last week or last month that worked. Look at what's working and get involved in that. That's it. That's my rant. Thank you as always for watching, and please message me any questions that you have. Have a good evening, everybody.